You're not being detained.
So am I free to go?
And by all means, if you do leave, it does mean that we would be able to use powers to arrest.
Welcome to the Audit Protocol, where we expose misconduct, examine police and legal matters, protect individual rights, and demand accountability. This episode is brought to us by Pinaki News. Be sure to check out the link below, subscribe to his channel, and give him the recognition he deserves. In this episode, Auditor Pinaki is filming outside a police station when officers approach him, already speaking as though a serious incident has taken place. Despite the fact that absolutely nothing has happened, no complaint is explained, no offense is identified, and no clear reason is provided. Instead, the interaction begins with an immediate and aggressive demand for his personal details. When he asks under what power they are acting, the responses never quite arrive. And that's where this encounter starts to become increasingly uncomfortable.
What?
Can I take your details?
Am I obliged to?
Well, obviously with the current climate, you're acting a bit strangely filming a police station.
No, I just told you what I'm doing. Photography's not a crime. I'm sat here, I'm waiting to get some pictures of a police car going in and out of the police station to finish off a story that I've been working on.
Yeah,
So I'm not obliged to give you my details because I haven't broken any laws.
do you mind not getting that in my face?
Well, it's not in your face and you came up to me, so...
Yeah, because you're filming a police station.
Well, that's not against the law though, is it?
No, but it's suspicious, strange
It is quite
behaviour.
suspicious.
No, I don't think it is. And terrorism or current climate has nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
Terrorism in Waterlooville, I don't think so.
it can happen anywhere, and it will cause us concern that you're sat here constantly filming a police station.
Well, why are you saying constantly?
Because
I've been sat here for 20 minutes waiting for a car to come round the corner to go into the police station, which is what I wanted to capture.
which we did.
Yeah.
So once that happened, I'd expected you to stop.
Yeah, you continued to film.
Because you got what you wanted,
Yeah.
and left. If that was the
Because you
case.
got out of the car and then you started walking over here.
The very first words out of their mouths are not questions, they're demands. Skipping any attempt to establish context or understand whether a genuine issue even exists, they move straight to requesting personal information, as though holding a camera automatically creates suspicion. Describing public filming as strange or unusual does not magically transform it into criminal conduct. That is subjective reaction, not a legal threshold. When they desperately rely on references to the current climate or wider global tensions to justify demanding his details, the entire argument falls apart because broad geopolitical concerns do not create specific and individualized grounds. By treating a citizen's lawful right to film as though it were a national security threat, these officers appear to be using fear as a substitute for a clear statutory power.
Now you just turned yours on.
Mine's on already.
All right, well that's fine. Well, that's fine. You're recording me and I'm recording you. But I'm not obliged to give you my details because I haven't broken any laws. Okay? And being suspicious is not a crime
You
either.
can appreciate though, given the current climate and terrorism being an issue, you are sat here.
There's no
filming-
terrorism
you're
in
filming a police
Waterlooville.
station.
Yeah. Oh, and understand why you come over to speak to me, but coming over and like, oh, we'll get your details, blah blah blah, I'm not obliged to do
Obviously,
that.
I'm engaging in a conversation with you.
Yeah. And I told you what I was.
Myself, I'm TC Morris.
I told you
work
what I was
here at
doing.
Waterlooville Police Station. All I asked was for your details.
And-
you could introduce yourself.
I explained to you what I was doing.
And I understand that. All I asked was for your details, for your name.
No, you don't need my name.
No?
No, because
Okay, that's
you
fine.
stick it in your computer and it stays there forever.
It's not that it was honestly from me to engage in a conversation with you. Appreciate it. Obviously, proper
Well,
respect.
I've just spoken to my sergeant as well.
Yeah.
And under the Terrorism Act, the current climate is severe, and the way you're acting, I will need your details.
Attempting to reframe this confrontation as a friendly introduction is completely at odds with what the camera actually shows. A notebook is already open, a pen is poised, and personal details are being demanded before anything resembling a basic greeting takes place. This is not how a casual conversation begins. It looks far more like the opening stages of an investigation, making later claims of friendliness seem like an after-the-fact attempt to soften the optics. The situation deteriorates further when the frontline officer, unable to identify a clear legal basis for stop, disappears to consult a sergeant and returns with a suggestion of relying on terrorism legislation. When officers lack confidence in their understanding of the law, escalation often becomes a fallback position, raising terrorism powers against a man Simply holding a camera represents a serious and troubling leap. Yet despite all of that, the demand remains the same. Please provide your details.
So please provide me
I'm not obliged to give you my details because I haven't broken the law.
Recording equipment if you are filming the police station under the current climate severe. Okay.
It is an
That's not.
And
No, it's not. That's
anyone watching your videos.
you can't seize my
Anyone
equipment.
watching your videos that you are currently, say you're live streaming,
Yeah.
will probably agree that under terrorism at the moment, with the risk as it is.
So this is live streaming because if you take my phone, it's not on my
I'm
phone.
explaining to you, I'm explaining to you the reasons why I'm speaking to you, and all I am requesting for is your details. I'm not going to.
I'm not obliged to get. I've not broken no
If you
laws.
don't give us your details, it gives us grounds to arrest.
No, it's not. No, it's not. That's unlawful arrest. No, that is unlawful arrest.
Failure to give a
I've
name
not
and
broken
address.
no laws, so that'd be an unlawful arrest.
Under the Terrorism Act, I'm requiring your name and address because of your behaviour.
The Terrorism Act.
At this stage, the logic becomes completely inverted. The officers begin suggesting that his refusal to provide personal details somehow creates the offense itself. That is a fundamental misunderstanding of how police powers operate. Refusing to comply with an unlawful demand does not magically generate lawful ground for arrest. Any reasonable suspicion of a genuine offense must already exist independently before a person's identity can be compelled. Threatening to seize his recording equipment simply because he declines to provide a name demonstrates a worrying misunderstanding of seizure powers, which require a clear legal basis rather than an officer's frustration. When the notebook comes back out yet again, it becomes increasingly obvious that the priority is not public safety or investigating a crime. The priority is filling in a blank space on a form.
So I've actually got written permission to sit here and do this.
Right, well, why didn't you tell us that? Can you see show us that, please?
Where's your written permission? It's
That's not a public place.
station. A police station's not a public place.
Well, it's still paid for by the public, isn't it?
It's not a public place though. Under the
Well, where I am is a public
Yeah,
place,
you're right there.
and I'm allowed to film anything I can see from a public place.
Within reason, but if your actions go beyond that and are suspicious,
Well, my actions aren't gone beyond that. I've told you exactly what I'm doing. It's to finish off the end of my social experiment blog that I was making.
well, you're still filming now, so it's.
I'm filming now for my own protection.
Protection from what?
From you. You're standing there threatening to arrest me under terrorism,
No, I'm asking for your
We
name
asked for
and
your
details.
which I'm not obliged to give you unless I've been arrested for a crime.
I don't feel like we've given you any cause for concern about our behaviour.
Well, he's threatening to arrest me under the Terrorism Act, which you couldn't even quote to me.
He's
I'm
not
not
threatening
going to
arrest
quote
you.
every part of the law.
You're telling me,
I don't
by me
memorise
not giving you my
word for word.
details,
That's not my job.
you told me me not giving you my details is an arrestable offence, which it is.
It says a great deal about the state of modern policing when a member of the public is forced to produce written legislation while officers rely on vague recollections and personal assumptions. The exact moment he hands them the wording of the law should have been an opportunity to reset the interaction. Instead, an officer attempts to rewrite reality by claiming that the police station is not a public place. That argument immediately falls apart. He is standing in an area openly accessible to the public, where any member of the public is lawfully entitled to be. Then comes a remarkable claim that quoting the law is not his job. If officers are invoking statutory powers that could interfere with a person's liberty, understanding those powers and accurately explaining them is precisely part of the job.
It's not permission for you to sit
Which
here
it
on
isn't.
the police station, which is what you've just
I am perfectly entitled to sit here and film a police station from a public space. In fact, I can even give you the law on photography. There you go.
It says that you do not need a permit to film or
No, I don't.
in a public place. It doesn't say anything about filming or taking photographs of a place that isn't public. Photography on private land is not restricted if the landowner has given you permission.
I'm on public land.
Yeah,
But I can still-
the fact that you're
I
filming
can-
a police station which is not
From that's not a house though, is it?
No, but it's not a public place.
Yeah, but if someone wants to stand outside my house in the public and film it, they're allowed to do that by law.
No.
There is no law that's... No, there's no law. No, there's not.
Right.
No, there's not.
after there's permission from one of their bosses.
I don't need permission to film the police station from a public
No,
space.
as I said, my suspicions are about your behaviour. It's all very strange.
What's suspicious about my behaviour? Do you think I'm a terrorist?
You're not talking
Have I got any bombs in my bag?
Quite defensive about the fact that.
Yes, because you've come over here to stop me. You're trying to stop me from filming.
The officer's reasoning misses a point entirely. The absence of a law specifically authorizing public filming does not create prohibition. In a free society, individuals are generally permitted to record anything they can lawfully see unless a specific legal restriction applies. There is no blanket rule preventing someone from pointing a camera at a building simply because a uniformed officer dislikes it. When that argument collapses, attention shifts to his behavior, as though asserting his rights or seeking clarification somehow transforms lawful conduct into suspicious activity. Being firm is not an offense, and asking questions is not obstruction. Recasting calm and measured composure as defensiveness is simply another attempt to stretch an officer's personal discomfort into something resembling legal justification.
And finishing my blog.
You wouldn't even provide me an
Well, that's because I don't need to. Because I'm not obliged to give you my name, that's why. So, well, exactly.
When I approached you to engage in a conversation and you were quite defensive.
I actually didn't want a conversation. If you had just gone into the police station, I would have left because I got the footage that I wanted.
Yeah, but you can understand that obviously, given the fact that you're sat here filming a police station, it's quite concerning for us.
Why?
For officer safety.
What am I going to do?
You're
What
about to
officer safety?
publish a video showing the registration plate of police cars in a police station.
They're in public all day, every single day. Police cars. There's no privacy in public. That's why there's CCTV cameras, millions of them all around the country. So I don't think your colleague really should stand there and threaten to take away my camera equipment.
He didn't threaten.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. It's on camera. It's a threat.
When one officer finally acknowledges that he is entirely within his rights, that should have been the natural and professional conclusion to the encounter. Instead, the justification changes yet again, this time hiding behind concerns about officer safety by suggesting that recording vehicle registration plates is somehow dangerous. Police vehicles operate every day on public roads where their registration numbers are visible to anyone driving behind them, parking beside them, or walking past them. A vehicle registration mark is not confidential information. You cannot suddenly transform openly displayed public information into a security threat simply because a camera happens to capture it. The argument does not withstand scrutiny, and yet it becomes the latest attempt to justify an interaction that should already have ended.
You're trying to scare me into, I don't want my phone to be taken. So in order for me to give up my details that I'm not obliged to give you.
You believe that we wouldn't be able to seize your phone. Why would you be recording live to a cloud so that when your phone is taken?
Oh, when my phone's taken?
That's what you said.
Is that what you're saying? When my phone's... That's why I'm recording to the cloud and not onto my phone.
You said that you record so that if somebody takes your phone,
that
the videos aren't there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I've still got my evidence, because I can't get your evidence off of your camera if this goes to court for me to get all my camera equipment back.
Why would you assume this is going to go to court?
Because if you're going to take my camera equipment, then it's going to go to court, isn't it?
Why would you assume you were going to take?
Because you would have unlawfully arrested me and unlawfully taken my camera equipment. You're trying to scare me into giving you my details that I'm not obliged to give you. I'm not obliged to give you my details. Well, I don't need to account. I'm sat here doing something perfectly lawful from a public space.
Referring to this hostile encounter as a stop and account after the fact does nothing to tidy up the underlying problems. Under Pace Code A, the stop and account is intended to be a brief and voluntary interaction. It is not a shortcut to compel personal details, nor does it grant any mandatory powers. The officer's visible surprise when he mentions the courts is particularly revealing, pointing out that any arrest or seizure of equipment must ultimately withstand independent judicial scrutiny should not be a shocking concept. It is a standard constitutional safeguard that applies whenever state powers are exercised. The fact that this appears to catch her off guard suggests that the legal consequences of those actions had not been properly considered.
The Terrorism Act and trying to intimidate me
in their details is a necessity that we can use for an arrest.
by making me think he's going to take away my camera equipment.
He didn't say that it was a threat that he was going to arrest you at all.
Okay. Am I being detained?
Sorry?
Am I being detained?
No, it's merely a stop
Okay.
and count. I mean, if you do leave, obviously we do have powers.
Are you going to use those powers if I leave then? Because
It would
you
mean-
just said I'm not being detained, so I'm free to go.
You're not being detained.
So am I
no.
free to go?
And by all means, if you do leave, it does mean that we would be able to use powers to arrest you on the grounds of suspicion of an offence.
What offence?
My colleague is speaking to my sergeant at the moment.
So, am I free to go?
That's obviously your decision.
And I'm not being detained?
That's obviously your decision.
And I'm free to leave? Am I free to leave? What's that mean?
As I've just explained to you, it's stop and account.
Have I broken any laws?
At the moment, you are filming a police station.
That's not breaking the,
which
that's
is
not
quite
breaking the law.
concerning, Which is why me and my colleague came over to speak to you.
That's not breaking the law though, is it?
As I explained to you, my colleague has basically gone to speak to my sergeant
Yeah.
to discuss.
Right. Are you detaining me here?
I'm not detaining you.
Right, so am I free to leave?
I would suggest you didn't leave.
Am I free to leave?
I would suggest you didn't leave.
Why?
I would suggest that you didn't leave.
Why?
I have answered your question. What you do next is up to you.
Well, I know what next is up to me, but you just said I'm not being detained, so therefore I'm free to leave because I've broken no laws.
The next move is yours. I've
Oh.
asked you to wait.
Okay, I don't want to wait. I'm going to leave and I'm going to go home. Okay?
The clearest moment in the entire encounter comes when he asks a simple question about his status. Am I detained? The officer answers no. That answer carries significant legal importance. If a citizen is not detained, they are generally free to leave. Yet the moment he attempts to exercise that freedom, the officers immediately contradict themselves, shifting the claims that they have the power to stop him and raising the possibility of arrest based on undefined suspicion. Police powers do not switch on and off simply because a person decides to walk away. Throughout the encounter, serious legal concepts are used with alarming casualness. Arrest is mentioned without a clearly defined offense. The seizure of equipment is threatened without a properly articulated legal basis. Terrorism legislation is floated as a fallback position when other arguments fail. When significant state powers are used as conversational tools to pressure a peaceful auditor, it risks undermining confidence in the very institution exercising them. What ultimately brings this episode to a close is not confrontation, but legal reality. He simply walks away because in the end, there is nothing concrete keeping him there. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue with my independent coverage. Also, don't forget to check out Pinocchio News. His channel is linked in the description below. Show him some support. Thanks for watching. This has been the Audit Protocol, and I'll see you in the next one.